Manny Pacquiao bounced back in what is said to be his last boxing fight ever against Timothy Bradley, and it scored a unanimous 116-110. Glimpses of Pacquiao's brilliance emerged, his speed, ferocity, but overall, I wasn't blown away by the fight. But one thing that did catch my eye, and I thought it was pretty funny, is Manny Pacquiao after the fight. I'll get into what I thought about the fight as a whole, and we have another recap coming from one of our TYT Next hosts. But Bob Arum says that he's not retiring. He says it's temporary at the moment. And when you watch Manny Pacquiao's interview after the game, it's almost... You ever get that way when you're telling your mates that you don't want to come out because your girlfriend's keeping you in, and it's like you don't want to go in? So he's like, he keeps blaming it on the fact that he's got commitment. So they ask him, he's like, Manny, are you really retiring? He's like, for now, I'm going to retire. My missus isn't letting me fight anymore.
It's like when you're first starting to date a girl, and or you're first hooking up with a girl, and your friends are like, "Oh, you're so gonna date this girl," and you're like, "Nah, definitely
I'm still
not."
playing the field.
No, I'm
you
still
speak
gonna
as
go
if you're
out.
speaking it firsthand here.
Yes,
you know
absolutely, because I saw it in his eyes when he was talking about how my family. I love my family. They don't want me to do it.
Yeah, that was it. It was basically they don't want me to fight anymore, and that's understandable. The guy's had a long and very beneficial career. He's made billions. I think this fight supposedly bringing in 20 million. The money not even in comparison to Floyd Mayweather Pacquiao's fight, but
$160 million.
That was absurd. That's enough for him to retire twice over.
But here's why it's not. Okay, I love this idea. First of all, obviously, Pacquiao has had some interesting bouts with American media in the recent past, but I mean, as you know, he's running
for Senate,
and he's basically building like public schools and hospitals with the fight money that he makes.
Yeah.
How awesome of a story is that? Even he could be the biggest homophobe in the world, but that's still a cool story.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I mean, and that's the thing about it. We did that clip, of course. In the media here, it is outrageous. His comments, the profanities that he screams are outrageous.
Yeah.
But then we looked into it more, and it's like with his upbringing in the Philippines, this is a common play. This is like a common discussion to have.
Regardless, because when you're Pacquiao, you're an international superstar.
Yeah, no, he should be taking that into consideration.
You've seen so many different countries. You've been in so many different countries. It's like that's not acceptable. Like when you're the private owner of Chick-fil-A, and you're like an 80-year-old Christian dude, you kind of have more leeway to say stuff like that. It's still unacceptable in our society, but when you're Pacquiao, you're an international figure. You shouldn't be going around talking about.
I think Pacquiao definitely needed someone to assist him with how he dealt with the media, because he posted again after it with his apology, but it was like a backhanded apology. I agree, but they're still animals or whatever, everything else. Like he's a little off on that, but nonetheless. We're swaying away from the actual fight itself. He knocked down Timothy Bradley in the 7th and the 9th. It was a unanimous decision. Bradley gave a good account of himself, but if I was in Vegas, my money, mortgage, life, car, bow ties would have all went on Manny Pacquiao.
Not the bow ties.
Yeah, that would have racked up the return for me. But moments of brilliance. His speed came back at times. I don't think he's retiring, and this is a good point that I read in Sports Illustrated. They ran the article. He's not retiring because physically he can't do it anymore. I think of anyone at his age and of these legendary fighters we're seeing in this weight class, he's still as in shape as many of them, and he's still continuously boxing at that standard.
Would you not say that it's more so because of the risk of injury, though?
I think risk of injury in his family.
He's been injured. Yeah, I mean, he's been injured so many times. Like, look, if you have so much money, but he doesn't want to turn out to be like Muhammad Ali. I know that sounds terrible to say.
No, that doesn't sound terrible. I mean, that's in boxing. That's in the head of every boxer, I think. We just see what happened with Chris Eubank Jr. in his fight in the UK, where a guy was into an induced coma because he was bleeding on the brain. The referee didn't stop it, and he just took consistent punches to his head. So that was a tragic story there. But one thing I'm going to say might cause some controversy, but I don't really care. I think he's tired of fighting the same people. I think he would only come back for one fight, and that's to fight Floyd Mayweather. That's the only reason he would come out of retirement.
I do not believe that Mayweather will fight him.
No, I don't think he will.
There's absolutely no reason for him to fight again. I don't even like the reasons why Mayweather won't fight again are drastically different than the reasons why Pacquiao shouldn't fight again. Like Mayweather has this incredible record already. He's made more money than God. He's more powerful than Donald Trump, which scares me because maybe he'll become the next president.
Maybe he'll run for president.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well, that's going to open the floodgates for anyone with the controversial figure and name to potentially do so. But
Kanye West.
Yeah, we'll see that. But I think that, people will shout, probably in the comment section, Gennady Golovkin and who else. Like Pacquiao is in my view, everyone's scared to fight Gennady Golovkin because if they've got that established record, you don't want to fight this guy that's just wiping people clean and doesn't care who he fights, doesn't care how injured he gets. He's hungry, he's anxious to make his name. Same way there was these rumors that Mayweather will come back and fight GGG.
He needs to build. No, he needs to beef up his record before he can go up against a Pacquiao or a Mayweather.
that's the thing,
obviously, it's not good for Mayweather. He's just creating someone else's career with a high risk for himself.
I think that's the biggest thing. That would be high risk with little reward. Yeah, he'd beat
Why would he
Golovkin,
do that?
he'd get to that big 50. I think he likes the number 50. That would be like, oh, it'd be cool. 50
Regardless,
regardless, he's still going to be legendary. But the fight as a whole was enjoyable, and our friend Kevin, who does great analysis of the fight, is going to break it down in depth. Take it away, Kevo.
What's going on, YouTube? It's Kevin Cordoba here with the fight recap. Manny Pacquiao defeats Timothy Bradley to win the vacant WBO International welterweight title. That is not a legitimate title. We all know the sanctioning body, specifically WBO, created that title just to collect sanctioning fees from the fighters and the promoters. But I guess they had to build it as a championship fight because it went the full distance. I scored the fight 117-109. So I gave the first 2 rounds to Manny Pacquiao. It was a kind of a feeling. Well, the first round specifically was a feel-out round. Most fighters are like that, try to feel each other, fight it out, see what they're going to do. But then the second round I gave to Manny Pacquiao. Third round I gave to Tim Bradley. I felt like he left good, clean left hooks, landed a good right hand, and he established the jab well. He kind of circled away from Manny Pacquiao's left. That's what you do against a southpaw. You take away the strong hand. But then from 4th to 6th, it was all Manny. Manny landed the cleaner, harder shots. He also kind of counterpunched it well. And the 7th round, he dropped Tim Bradley. It was a 10-8 round. Obviously, it was easy to score. But then I gave the 8th round to Tim Bradley. I felt like Bradley landed good, clean left hooks, which kind of forced Manny to the ropes and made Manny uncomfortable. So that was a 10-9 round for Tim Bradley. But then in the next round, it was all Manny. It was a 10-8 round. Manny knocked down Tim Bradley, which made him roll over. He landed with a good, clean left hand. It was all Manny for the 10th round. I gave it 10-9 for Manny Pacquiao. I gave the 11th to Tim Bradley. I felt like he was more aggressive and landed the harder shots. But then the final round I gave to Manny Pacquiao. So it was a really, really easy fight to score. There was no controversy behind that. I had the same scorecard as Harold Letterman, which is kind of shocking because I never agree with Harold Letterman. The whole HBO broadcast team are biased towards certain fighters. And my scorecard lined up just as well as his, and I think most scored as well. I think ESPN scored as well as 117-109. No controversy there. Manny Pacquiao says he's officially retiring. We never know if these boxers, once they need money, they will come back. But he says he wants to focus on his family, wants to focus in the Philippines and his political career. As for Tim Bradley, I don't know what's next for him. I mean, this is only his second loss in the welterweight division. He can fight plenty of people, and the only problem is the political BS in boxing. He's with Top Rank, and all the other top ranked welterweights are in with Hal Heyman and PBC. But he can still fight top name fighters like Kell Brooks, still available. He just beat his mandatory, defended his title in the UK. He can fight Keith Thurman or Sean Porter. Those would be really interesting fights, very competitive fights. I think he should try to give it a shot at it. It's not the end of Tim Bradley. Tim Bradley, like I said, this is only the second fight with Teddy Atlas. They still have time to develop.
So we want to know what you guys think of the fight. Let us know in the comment section below. Hassan the Hun on Twitter and Instagram. Big Hass on Snapchat for some some pre and post shaving pictures. I like how you do your pre and post shaving pictures, and somehow your shirt comes off in the middle of it.
You can't. I have a lot of hair, so I have to take it off. I love TYT Sports. There's like no girls to follow me. Anyway,
no, there will be.
So
There'll be a couple. We'll find them. And then me, Francis_Maxwell on Twitter. Francis Maxwell host, as Jason likes to say, on Instagram and at TYT Sports.
#OOTD.
#OOTD.